why don't we move on to Chappaquiddick, a movie that I'm probably not as high as the Rotten Tomatoes is. John Curran directs this biopic of or biography drama again about Ted Kennedy and the I don't know what to call it, the manslaughter charges that he
That's what it
avoided.
is. Yeah.
When he drove off a bridge on Chappaquiddick Island and killed Mary Jo.
Kopechne?
Yeah. I was going to say, thanks for saying that, because there's no way I was pronouncing that correctly. Jason Clarke stars as Ted Kennedy. Kate Mara is Mary Jo. Ed Helms is Joe Gargan. Jim Gaffigan's in this. Bruce Dern plays Joe Kennedy Sr. Did you like this movie? Was it a movie you left feeling like, yeah?
I did like this movie, but I do like history movies in general. Mm-hmm. But I like this because I thought this was a biopic of sorts, but it was more than just a dramatic retelling of events the way like Paterno on HBO was, which we reviewed recently. Check that out, SoundCloud.com/nostalgiapod. But yeah, I thought Chappaquiddick told his story in a thoughtful way. I think in the story, it's not spoilers, it's just history.
Right.
Ted Kennedy basically gets off, and despite the fact that he was a great servant of the Senate for 47 years, and one of the most prolific politicians we've ever had, he did get away with a major mistake, and it's kind of been brushed under the rug until recently. And I like the way they told it, and I also thought Jason Clarke's performance was really good. I'm a fan of Jason Clarke, and I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and he was fucking capital A acting in this.
Yeah, and I mean it's a role it's tough because you're trying to portray a person from a very famous family, a very famous person at that. He did the accent at times, didn't do the accent at times, but he also kind of pulled off the look well, which at times I thought like, damn, I can't believe they found someone that actually kind of looks like Ted Kennedy, because he's a very distinct looking
especially person. Someone famous that you already know about.
Exactly. I actually thought Ed Helms was the heart of this movie. As
definitely
Joe
the heart. Yeah.
Which it speaks to the fact that he was probably the one that embodied the audience's feelings for most of this, kind of like that just do the right thing type feeling. But it did look at kind of the two sides kind of pulling at Ted to handle it in different ways and for different reasons why.
Right. Yeah. Ed Helms, good for him. Another dramatic role. He's had only a few of those, but he's a talented guy, and he's he hasn't been acting in a whole lot recently. So, but yeah, he played Joe Gargan, and from what we know, that was a pretty accurate portrayal of how things went down. Joe Gargan became estranged from the Kennedy family after the incident, and to Jason Clarke looking like him, he actually had like blocks in his mouth. Makes so sense. That he would talk the way Kennedy talked, and he said actually long days shooting, it would actually make his like gums bleed by the end of the day. So he was really going for it with this role, and I think it's one of the best acting performances I've seen in the year so far. I was really impressed. And I actually thought Bruce Dern, playing Joe Kennedy on death's door, but also really, and this is to the movie's credit, kind of showing the other side to Joe Kennedy, where even at that old age, the one word he can let out is alibi. Alibi. And also, I really like Clancy Brown. He's obviously notorious for voice acting these days, but as Robert McNamara, someone who we just saw portrayed in The Post, and seeing like he's a professional politician, one of the most prolific people we've had in our government. And I don't like, I know some people like find movies like this really dry, which I get, but I was a big fan.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worth a watch. I think what I kind of left feeling is like sometimes I think the emotional stuff for Ted didn't totally hit, like when it was when he's talking to his dad, Jason Clarke talking to Bruce Dern about like how Jack and Robert were great because they were great men, not because of him. Something about that didn't land for me. I'm not really sure what that was. I probably should give it another watch and see if it lands the second time.
Yeah. I think it's also kind of a tough task, like making a movie about this incident. There's just so much characterization you have to do with putting any Kennedy on screen, especially Ted Kennedy once both of his brothers were already killed. There's a lot to pull off there. I mean, like you said, I feel like they definitely gave it their best shot with it. I think it looked like 1969 and
Definitely.
they sounded like it. So, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I think you're right. Like it's tough to convey the emotion that Ted Kennedy would have without another few hours of backstory, you know? You kind of have to like understand that going in as the audience.
Right. Well, and who doesn't know that story by